Hello, YouTubers. My name is Leslie Hyatt, and this is my first life lessons video. And before I begin it, I just want to explain what I'm going to be doing with the YouTube channel with this stuff. So I already posted a social issue when I talked about domestic violence and victims and helping them restart their lives. Every month I will be posting one of those, and every month I'll be talking about life lesson. These life lessons actually will be taking place where it occurred, and the life lessons is of course stuff that I experienced. And so once a month I'll talk about these issues and hopefully help people out, and please share, like, or make comments on the video about this. This one is about a night where I actually almost lost my life, and so I will actually be talking about the event itself, how it changed me in a positive way, and then also maybe some afterthoughts or thoughts throughout this video. So if you hear any background noises, it's usually the car. There's some dripping water over here, and just to let you know, I expect a train or something to go through here. But that's actually part of the story and part of the event. Now, this is the event where I survived a skinhead attack and what occurred that night. So to explain what happened, I was going we're at the location where it happened, and I was going down the street to my gym. My gym it's been at the same place for decades, and during that time, around that time, there was about 3 gay bars in the area. I'm next to one of them right here, and I'll explain the event and why this occurred that night in a little bit. But that night I was going to the gym. It was a summer evening. I just got off of work at the public library, and so I was going to the gym after work, and it was at night. On the way in over here, I was yelled at by 3 individuals who were yelling epithets and discussions. And like I said, a car might be coming by. Anyways, that was yelling things like faggot, fuck you faggot, fucking die, and a bunch of stuff. Now, I'll explain why I responded in the way I did in a little bit, but I yelled back. Not to be confrontational or anything, but to tell them off. The thing was, a train was coming by right along here, and I missed going across on the train, but I still wasn't scared. I had a lot of training in my background, and I was okay with defending myself. And also the fact is that there was a lot of cars that night along here. There was a big white pickup truck, another car here, and then when they came around. So I was trapped in that area. The skinheads, they were yelling at me coming from this way. They actually drove around, and they were in like a mom's station wagon, by the way, a bright cherry red Saturn. You can't miss it. I just thought it was some idiots yelling at me. As a bicyclist, you get used to that kind of stuff. But when I was standing there with my bike, and they were parked here, and they were saying stuff when they're yelling at me, you're gonna die and all this stuff. And I thought they were just being idiots. They got out of the car, and a couple things I noticed right away. One, it was 3 individuals, and they all had their shirts off. They're all white guys with no hair, and one of them had a big Nazi insignia on their shoulder. So they were ready to fight, because if you've ever been in a fight before, the less clothing you have, the less ability someone has to grab on you. I had my little gym clothes on with my workout gloves. It was still dark, even though the lights were on from the headlights. It was still dark, and I only made out the main features. I stood there, didn't really respond to anything what they were saying, and proceeded to prepare for if I had to defend myself. It was 3 individuals, but It's not the first time I've had to defend myself from multiple people. But these guys were ripped and they were looking for a fight. Now, as I was about to get up and get out of there, something happened. A beer bottle passed my head, and it wasn't an empty one, it was a full one. Because these guys were wanting to hurt me, and they weren't looking for a fight, they were looking to beat somebody up. They were looking to hurt or maim or even possibly kill an individual. They were throwing full beer bottles at me right there. Now, I'll let you know right now, none of the cars that witnessed this did anything. No one got out, no one honked their horns, nothing happened. What happened was, realizing when the first beer bottle passed by me, and I was already set for this, I took off. I took off down this way here, through the dirt patch for this club here. One of the skinheads came at me and hit me. They were trying to get me off my bike and get me unconscious on the ground. And they were looking to, like I said, do something horrible. He actually hit me with one of the beer bottles, the full beer bottles, right here on my knee. I actually, just to let you know what happened with that, I had glass in my knee and I had to go to the hospital later that night to remove glass from my knee. It was all bloody and whatever. And I got away from the skinhead. I got to the front of this establishment right here, where it was very well lit. There was a very elderly security guard at the gate. Oh, another car. But the skinheads got in their vehicle and came roaring around. And they saw me, and I saw them, and I saw their faces, and I saw their license plate number. The security guard was older and he didn't realize what was going on, but we did take down a license plate. It might have been 1 or 2 numbers off, but we were able to take down and get the information. They saw me, and a couple things here real quick. When they finally were able to see me and I was able to see them, they took off like little cowards, They pulled off and went. This is the one-way road, by the way, this one right here, and this one actually technically is too, but this one's a one-way road. They went down the wrong way to get out of there, but again, they were seen. They weren't scared of the security guard, and I actually think they kind of recognized that I wasn't their intended target, because then they were able to fully see that I was in my gym clothes with my gym gloves and all that stuff. I wasn't they were targeting homosexuals that night. They wanted to kill or beat or maim a gay man or a gay woman. And they came to what was at the time the pinnacle of gay existence in or a nightclub scene in Fresno. I proceeded to get their information down when they took off. A couple things real quick before I continue this. The reason why I know that they were targeting gay men that night is the date of the attack. It was June 26, 2003. If you want to go look up in Wiki right now, that's the day of the court ruling where the Supreme Court struck down a anti-homosexual sodomy law in Texas, and it was considered a big gay rights victory across the nation. And across the nation, left and right news outlets and predominantly, I hate to say on the conservative side, was talking about it being a big gay rights victory. And over the news and over the radio stations and so forth, that message got out. This was before gay marriage, before all that stuff. This was a major change in a change in law that affected the whole country. And these skinheads, looking and hearing this that day, decided to take out their anger and their hatred on an individual. Except the individual that they targeted was not gay and was going to the gym. And they targeted not only someone who was not gay, but also targeted someone who served their country in the Marine Corps. That's why I stood up and was able to fight and fend them off, but unless they were using weapons, which they were. And also, I was engaged at the time. It was the absolutely horrible target, and I actually think they might have recognized me. I'm actually, people know me in this area because of riding my bike around, or they might even have gone to my gym. Who knows? But the thing is, they didn't care about right or wrong or who was the target. They only cared about themselves and their own perspective. And in doing so, they made a mockery of not only what they were believing and what their act was, but they also made a mockery of I guess, their discourse by making a foolish error. And actually, their whole discourse was wrong for taking out that kind of act anyways. The follow-up here with this story is how what occurred. What occurred was the police did come. They were called, and I absolutely got one of the worst officers that could possibly be. The entire time, he was trying to make it sound like it was either gang related, and also he was trying to make it sound like it was a provocation, like, you know. And we told him all the information. I think he just didn't want to do the paperwork on hate laws and stuff like that, or didn't want to take the time, or actually cared about the issue. This officer, by the way, later, about a year or two later, just a little follow-up, he actually was reprimanded because it turned out that his stepbrothers were making meth in the house that he was renting. So, not the best officer in the world. He actually called me a couple days after the attack and asked, again, not about whether or not these were skinheads attacking someone they thought was gay and doing a hate crime, but was actually trying to see whether or not it was still possibly a crime of hate, of just a provocation of two individuals on the streets and so forth. So, we got a guy behind me. Anyhow, so that is how that occurred. So I'm sorry, I'm taking a moment just to watch this guy. Here is some follow-up on that. Now, before that occurred, I was a huge supporter of gay rights. And what these guys did was not only target the wrong individual, but they targeted an individual that went from an advocate or someone who supported gay rights to an advocate of gay rights. I worked in politics and still continue to work in politics and advise politicians and the people that help elect them. And I talked about the change that was coming when it comes to that issue. I talked and have given speeches about this event and what occurred that day, and about realizing and feeling what it was like to feel the hatred for even a minute of what individuals go through all the time. And so it opened up my eyes and opened up my heart and pushed me into a positive direction. A horrible act was able to make a big positive change in not only my outlook, but also in possibly other people because of my work since then. So not only did they fail by targeting the wrong individuals, but they failed in actually helping the cause that they wanted to lash out on. So with great pride, with this life lesson, is I took a tragedy where someone was targeting me for possibly a severe beating, maim, crippling, or even possible death, and turned it into a situation where we got a positive from it. That's the important life lesson. And it's also a life lesson on the fact is that gay rights is equal rights issue. It's not about special treatment or anything like that. It's about feel equal. And it didn't take, it's something I believed in before, but something I knew had to be done because of the world where something like this could happen. As for hate crime and hate crime laws, I actually believe in hate crime sentencing over laws where the specialty and the consideration is done on the DA and court level, because of, you know, the incompetence of the officer and the ineptitude of the officer. We can't trust that would happen correctly, and it's such a sensitive issue. But you know, this was not my first brush of death in my life. This was one of them. So I would like to say that closeness and the intensity of that moment helped me realize a lot of not just my outlook on things, but the importance of social change and, of course, importance of this. I thank you for watching this, and hopefully this story can help others, or understand what we can learn from this kind of situation. Thank you for your time, and just an observation. I hope it helps.